welcome to the garage. Today we're going to be working on this LBZ Duramax motor. We have a ton to do, so let's get started. This is an LBZ Duramax motor that's out of a 2007 2500 or Chevy 2500 HD. That was wrecked. It had about 130,000 miles on it, so relatively low miles for these motors. I got it for a good price to start my project, which is to put this engine into a 1981 Chevy C20 square body truck. The goal today is to get the engine all buttoned up with all the covers on it. So we have the front cover, we have the water pump, we have the upper oil pan, down there we have the lower oil pan, and we have all the seals and gaskets necessary to put all that stuff back together. So yeah, like I said earlier, ton of stuff to do today, so let's jump in. It'd be totally awesome to get to a point today where we could put some color on this engine. So comment down below what color you think it should be. So I think the first thing I should do is take the front cover here and install the front main seal. I'm never sure like whether or not you're supposed to lubricate the edge or not whenever you drive this in. I never do. Maybe it would be easier if you did, but I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if I'm doing it right or if I'm doing it completely wrong. I understand this is overkill. That's the smallest block of wood that I could find, but I just want to make sure that you're going in straight with it. Probably could have used a beefier hammer. Oh yeah, so that's flush all the way around. You flip this guy over, you can see there's a little O-ring spot here, which I believe that's the oil pressure relief valve. When that pops, it relieves the oil back into the sump. But there are 1,000 gaskets and seals on a Duramax motor, so I have to rummage through this bag and see if we can find the right one. All right, I got the gasket installed right there. Now I need to put a bead silicone around the perimeter, and you can see there's a little groove that's cut that you're supposed to follow. I'm using this JV8 from Molly. The directions say to apply this stuff in one continuous bead, so we'll see how that works out. I've never been able to do this, and it looked good, so we'll see. This stuff has a super interesting smell to it. I don't know if I should be inhaling it or not. All right, hopefully that's good enough. Okay, let's see how this goes. Get some hardware in there. Did I get the right hardware? It definitely helps when you use the right hardware. And get these all snugged up, and then we can see what the torque spec is. So the torque on the front cover bolt is 18 foot-pounds. Hey, good morning everybody, and welcome to tomorrow. Definitely did not make as much progress as I wanted to last night, but that's okay because we have plenty of time today to get stuff done. So last night I got the front cover installed, so let's work on getting the water pump in. All right, so here's the water pump. cool gear-driven stuff. All right, first thing I'm going to do is spray a little WD-40 on the gasket here. And make sure that's lubed up real good so it's easier to seat the water pump. All right, what way do we go here? So I think it's like this. Gotta make sure the teeth on the gear lines up in there. All right, let's grab some hardware. All right, let's check the torque. All right, water pump bolts, 2010 earlier models, 15 foot-pounds. These are 12 millimeter bolts. All right, torqued. Next, I'm gonna install the windage tray back into the upper oil pan. Let's see what way this goes. Not actually sure what the torque value is for those guys. So we'll go 15. I'm assuming that it's the same torque value. If I'm wrong, let me know. Torqued. Next thing we gotta do is run another bead of silicone. I don't know why the engineers didn't just use gaskets, you know? Way easier. If there are any GM engineers out there, surely they're not watching any of these videos, but if there are, maybe you could tell me why we didn't just use a gasket on these things. I've built a few LS motors and it's gaskets everywhere. Why not on the Duramax motors? So unlike on the front cover, these grooves don't go inside of all of these bolt holes, so we gotta make a little circle around each one of these bolt holes because that's a potential leak path, which makes this one even more difficult. But here we go. I should say half circle. You don't have to go all the way around, you just need to go to the inside. Has to be a continuous bead. It's definitely a forearm workout. Oh, looks good. I can bring you guys in and get a little bit of a better look. So the goal is to have one continuous bead all the way around on the inside of the bolt holes. All right, this part is pretty tricky. There are a couple of dowels to align the pan up whenever you go to set it down, but you kind of have to get at it at an angle, and I don't want to smear this bead of RTV too much. Trying to set it down on those dowels. I'm gonna get some hardware started in a couple of spots. So these are 6mm Allen style bolts. I'm gonna snug them up. Oh, you gotta pay attention to that actually. So this is a longer bolt goes into the deeper boss there. I think there are 4 shorter ones. 1 on that side and 3 on this side. There are a ton of fasteners for the upper oil pan. There's also 2 larger bolts here in the back. 1 right here and 1 right there. And these are 17 millimeter. Guys, a little snug. All right, the torque on the upper oil pan bolts is 15 foot-pounds. The directions say to go in a circular pattern, which is weird. Normally I'm used to going in a star pattern. The torque for the rear 17 millimeter bolts is also 15 foot-pounds. So I have the old oil pan here and the new one, but there's a couple things we have to do before we put the new oil pan on the motor. And the first thing is swapping over the low oil sensor over to the new oil pan. So let me bring you in here and let's do that real quick. All right, the first thing we got to do is to remove this little retainer clip so that we can get this electrical connector pushed through. There we go. All right. So the next thing is to remove these 2 bolts right here, and those are 10 millimeter. All right, there we go. Low oil sensor. I'm gonna clean this hardware up just a little bit. It's already pretty clean since it spends most of its life submerged in oil. This guy, on the other hand, is pretty grody. It's not perfect, but that looks much better. All right, let's transplant this guy. All right, got the low oil sensor transferred over to the new oil pan. Now I just got to put the little retaining clip in there. Alrighty, just like the upper oil pan, we're going to put a bead of silicone around this guy as well. All right, well, that looks terrible, but hopefully it gets the job done. The gasket kit that I got from Molly did come with a gasket for the lower oil pan. However, when I pulled the old one off of this engine, all it had was a bead of silicone. So I'm going to do both. Maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right. I don't know, but we're going to see how it works. I am going to put the gasket against the machine surface, and then the oil pan, which is a non-machine surface, with the RTV against the gasket. Hopefully that seals well enough. All right, not a whole lot to hold on to. All right, throw some fasteners in there. All right, all these are 10 millimeters. Let me grab a socket. All right, the torque spec for the lower oil pan bolts is 89 inch-pounds. All right, torqued. All right, what I think I want to do now is get some tape, tape up the water neck, front main seal. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I think this, oh yeah, there's the water inlet here. Get all that taped up and spray the whole thing down with another coat of primer, get everything the same color. After that, we have the oil cooler hardware to install the water neck here. That's the cooler in the elbow that goes to the back plate. But before we can install those, I need to spray the back of this engine color and this area down here engine color as well, because once that box gets installed there, you can't get behind it. And I'd like it all to be, you know, coated the same. So yeah, let's do that real quick. Before I spray, I'm gonna clean it up just a little bit. If there's any residual oils or something on here. Forgot to tape up the low oil level sensor. Good enough. All right, let's spray. I'm using Duplicolor's engine enamel primer. It's good stuff. I'm ready to spray some color on these pieces because once they're installed on the engine, we won't be able to get to the back of them. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray them now. And we are gonna go with Chevrolet Orange. You know, instead of just painting this portion right here so that I could put the oil cooler and the water tube and everything on, I mean, it's already all taped up, so might as well paint the whole thing, right? I don't know about you guys, but this is pretty exciting. It's a big deal when you're putting color on an engine. For two reasons. You get to see it in its, you know, final color, and the second reason is you just hope to God you don't have to take it apart for any reason or if you forgot something. All right, here we go. All right, guys, here it is, all painted up. And I gotta be honest, I think it looks badass. If you put enough layers on it, it comes out pretty good. There's only a couple more things that we need to get done today, and that is to install the water tube and the oil cooler box and the neck. All that stuff is going to go right here. We're going to attach it to the water pump outlet. Water tube comes over like this. The water box mounts right here, and the neck goes into the rear engine cover right there. So we got to do that. We also need to install the cam and the crank position sensor. What else? I think that's actually it for today. Yeah. Hey everybody, meet my camera person.
Hi.
She's the best.
It's me.
Okay. It's my wife, by the way. Just in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah.
All right, so what I need to do first is assemble all of this as one unit, and then we can go and put it on. But I need to grab some silicone spray for that gasket. I'm trying to get it all over my brand new paint job. Okay. This was really hard to get out of here, so hopefully it's easier to go back in. Way easier to go back in than it was to come out. All right, let's make sure we got this lined up the right way. That's gonna be like this, so something like that. Sweet. Okay. Install this dude. All this hardware is similar. Already got the gasket in that guy. So I'm gonna grab one of these and these guys. All right, let's install it. Oh, I forgot about that guy. I think we got enough room to slide it in there. Yeah, we got plenty of room. All right, let's get here we go. Put our gasket in here. All right, get that snug down. I'm gonna have to get this one with the ratcheting wrench. Let me do that first. Okay, I think this may be a teachable moment. It looks like you have to get this guy fully installed to here before you install the thing, because I don't think there's any way to get to this fastener with everything installed, unfortunately.
We gotta take it apart.
Yep. Sometimes, you know, if it's worth doing once, it's worth doing 3 or 4 times. I think someone said that at some point. All right. Torqued. All right. What else? Oh yeah, sensors. Alrighty. It's important to note that the cam sensor, like the little connector, is more or less in line with like the body of this thing. But if you look at the crank sensor, see how it's off to the side? The connectors are exactly the same, so that can be confusing. So the cam sensor goes right here, and the crank sensor goes in here. All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode. We got everything done that we wanted to get done today. That's actually a first for me, so I feel pretty good about that. But stay tuned, because next time we're going to be reassembling these heads and getting the heads on the motor. So that's new springs, new valves. I'm going to have to lap them all in. Head gaskets. We got ARP bolts and studs. So a lot of awesome stuff coming up. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.